All right. Hi, everybody. Um, so we're just going to keep this informal today. So with that in mind, Brennan, I'd ask you to monitor the chat and just feel free. Otherwise, feel free to unmute and just ask your question. You may have I do tend to get on a roll, so you may have to give me a hey you. Right, in that regard. All right. So what you should see on your screen right now is coach.ca, our website. And this is a great place to go. It has a wealth of information in terms, if you're a new coach and you want to learn about what the NCCP is and National Coaching Certification Program and how it works, you can always come click on Learn to Coach, National Certification Program. And on a very basic level, the NCCP is designed to provide athletes with, well, as it says on the site, a standardized coach education. So it give athletes access to coaches who have had some training. Because it is standardized, the training is recognized across the country. So if you reside in Nova Scotia and you've taken coach training there and you move to Saskatchewan, your training will still be recognized. I would, rather than going into a lot of detail about the NCCP, I would recommend you come to this page. I mean, it's broken down into 3 streams: community, competition, and instruction. Each one is designed for athletes at a different stage of their sport career. But what I would like to focus on more today is the locker. So what I plan to do is go through the locker, a bit of what information is available, where it can be found, and then certainly we can open it up to specific questions. But again, if you have a question at any point, feel free to interrupt. I should say the locker is accessible through coach.ca. It's just clicking on the locker in the top right corner. You'll be brought to the login page. Everybody accesses the locker the same way, whether it is NCCP number or email as the username and a password. Now, it is strongly recommended that you do use your NCCP number as the username, because the email address would have to be the one on file. And it's been our experience here that the locker is the last place that emails get updated. Now, if someone's not sure what their number is, they can click on look up my NCCP number. Yes, they're first asked for the email. If they're not sure what that is, they can click on I don't remember. They're asked for their name and birth date, and they should be able to get their number from there. Same process for forgot password, email address, and then I don't remember. Now, I don't know if you heard that or not. Someone is ringing my doorbell, so it's not bells in your own head. But I think I know it's the kids from across the lane, so I think they can wait. Okay, the bottom link says, don't have an NCCP number, create one now. And I will stress this for our sport partners here today. This is for people who are new to the NCCP, people who don't have an NCCP number. And the reason why I stress this is we do have situations where coaches have been away for a while and they're coming back to coaching, whether it's because their children are old enough or they have grandchildren, and they do know their number, but they click us on this link and then they contact us wondering why they have a new number. So again, this is for people new to the NCCP. They'll click on the link. They are asked to review our terms and conditions and privacy policy. And once they agree, they can click continue and go through the process. All right. I'm just going to log in quickly here. All right, so what coaches see when they log in, or what you see when you log in, will look something like this. The only difference for coaches is some of these tabs that are at the top for me will actually be large buttons just below this line here. This is what we call the coach dashboard. It provides coaches information on a couple of things. Latest is a link to our Twitter feed, so that they can get update on what's going on within the NCCP, within CAC or the sporting world. Activity is in relation to maintenance of certification or lifelong learning. There will be a list of the certified statuses that are current for the coach. Any statuses that have lapsed into not renewed will be listed here as well. Below that is the number of all-time professional development points, or PD points, that the coach has accumulated. And this is all time. So this is the number of points accumulated since the first point. It's not a reflection of a current maintenance cycle. In a bit, I'll show you where you can find information on that. Finally, under attention, coach has an opportunity to update personal information. Any events that the coach registered for through the locker, through their account in the locker, will be listed here, and they can indicate what sports they are involved in. So the first button that the coach will see on the left is e-learning. So this is where modules like Safe Sport, Making Headway. There was a third one I forget that you had listed, Brennan. But also our latest one.
Emergency action plan.
Emergency action plan, yes. We also launched leading a return to sport module as well. So these ones, so leading a return to sport, emergency action plan, making headway, and Safe Sport are all available for free. It's just for Safe Sport, when a coach clicks on it, there's some information, but then they'll be asked to indicate if they are involved in a sport, in which case, which one, and they can scroll through the list. And then they're asked to indicate what their role is. Conversely, if this person works for a multi-sport organization, or if their sport is not in the list, they can come and select the proper multi-sport organization, of which Canadian Forces, because I know we have someone here involved in the Canadian Forces, so that is one. Then once they have done that, and I'll just go back, select boxing, my organization, click continue. Then you're brought to the page where you can click the begin button to start the module. All of our e-learning modules will open up in a new window. There are, I would just say for today, please ignore the early access ones. Because the account I used to log in has access for testing purposes. Those ones are not available to the public yet. There are nominal fees for the other modules, but they can be of use. I myself, in my role here at CAC, I've completed just about all of the modules you see there. And to be honest with you, and I'm not just saying this to promote them, I've actually gotten something out of each one. And in some cases, that's applicable to, my world outside of sport. Drop-down lists at the top. Coaches are free to pick a sport. My sport's soccer, but I did complete Special Olympics modules. And in some cases, the modules are available for free. In some cases, there are fees. The sport-specific modules, we are basically hosting them on behalf of our partners. So one thing to keep in mind is if your coaches are completing a sport-specific module and they're having issues, they will see at the beginning who to contact. So if it's a sport-specific module, it is the sport, so the National Sport Organization. If it is a multi-sport module, then we in Coach and Partner Services are the people to contact. We also host modules for officials as well. So I believe baseball and athletics, we are hosting modules for them as well. So these are the multi-sport ones. And I believe athletics has some as well. Yeah, officials 101 and officials 201. So that's e-learning. Coaches also have the calendar button. So the calendar function in the locker is one method that can be used for registration. And in that case, the coach will come in. They will only have the 3 filters at the top: month, year, and province, territory. Then they can come in, find what they're looking for in the column on the right. If there's a long list, they can just click on the appropriate day and then click on the appropriate item to register. I am going to keeping it in the coach perspective right now. The coach has profile button, which they can click, and that brings them to their detail page, where they can update personal information, change their password, and change the email address. Now, for those of you that are part of a sport organization, or I see other organizations in the province, I should have said at the beginning, so I'll say it now. What you can see and what you can do in the locker is determined by your access rights. So down the road, if you have the proper access rights, you too can update coach information. For the email address, as part of anti-spam and privacy legislation, once the save button is clicked for the new email address, an email will go to that address that says, hey, there's been a request to change your email. If everything's okay, click this link. If not, contact CAC. And once the coach has clicked that link, then the change will take effect. Email consent, again, anti-spam legislation dictates that only the coach can make that change. So only they can decide if they want to receive emails from CAC or not. Professional coaching tab on the left. So that's chartered professional coach, registered coach. Applications and renewals are handled through the coach account and this tab. Advanced coaching diploma, similar case where the application is completed by the coach through their account. Purchases tab. Any purchases that the coach makes through their account, whether it's renewing their professional coaching license or paying for an e-learning module, that would be listed here, and they can view and print a receipt if needed. History. Attended tab is basically a text version of the transcript. Delivered is for coach developers, so learning facilitators, coach evaluators. Anything that has been delivered in that role will be listed here. But for the coach, I think the most important tab is e-learning. So any e-learning modules completed will be listed here. And for the 3 online evaluations, the scores will be listed here as well. The last 3, the last 3 items you see at the top here are CAC only. So if as a coach you notice that you have more than one number, send an email to coach@coach.ca indicating all the relevant NCCP numbers and letting us know if there's a particular number you want kept. As a sport organization, similar process. If there is no preferred number, our procedure is to keep the lowest number or earliest to count. All right. For coaches, we used to send out coaching cards. We no longer do. So by clicking on the card icon in the top right, you can indicate how many you want. They pop up, and then you're able to print them out. Now, once they're printed out, then you can laminate them or not as you see fit. And I clicked cancel a little quickly there. The coaching card merely indicates your name and NCCP number. It does not list any specific qualifications, mainly because there is not enough room on the card to do so. All right, I think I'll pause right now just to see if there are any questions. No? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, yep.
I was just wondering if you go back to that first page, like that e-learning page. Like for instance, I coach and I'm also involved in an organization. Like I guess I'd be sort of multi-sport. And like, can you do all of it? Like coach, multi-sport organization, or official?
Yes, they're all available to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Some have fees, some don't. I guess that's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. That was my question.
Okay. One thing I did miss is the most important part, certification, which is the transcript. Transcripts are organized by sport in alphabetical order, with multi-sport modules listed at the bottom. The colored banners indicate the stream. So blue is competition, yellow is instruction, and green will be community. And we can look into that more if you want towards the end, but I certainly recommend going to coach.ca and reading more about those. There are filters at the top. So locker training's applying for a baseball coaching position. So she doesn't necessarily want to crowd the transcript with everything else. So by selecting baseball, it is now just baseball. Let's switch it to curling. As part of our locker training that we give to our partners, I talk about the detailed view. So this, by doing that, it breaks each entry down into its individual components. And where that comes in handy is with Make Ethical Decisions. Several sports have integrated multi-sport training into their workshops. Example being here, teaching and learning and planning a practice. That's why it says credited. In order to access the Make Ethical Decisions online evaluation for free, credit is required. Credit for the training is required. So it would appear in this list as Make Ethical Decisions credited. Coach Developer tab on the left. This is a graphical representation of the training and evaluation process that coach developers go through. So basically they're going through a certification pathway similar to coaches, where they do training and they get evaluated. So it's a two-step training process. Core training is delivered by PTCRs, provincial territorial coach representatives. Content-specific training is delivered usually by the Provincial Sport Association, but a coach developer must complete content specific training for each module that they're going to deliver. Two-step evaluation, co-delivery, where the coach developer will deliver part of a workshop, and there's another coach developer there, or learning facilitator in this case, there to deliver most of the workshop, and then just sort of observe and evaluate for that part that's being delivered as part of co-delivery. Evaluation is where a master coach developer comes and observes someone delivering the whole workshop. Maybe a little more detail for some of you today, but I think it's just worth going through from a knowledge perspective to understand a bit how the NCCP works. So back on the transcript, you may have noticed this on the right. Since expires PD points. So that's part of maintenance of certification. So where a coach must accumulate a required number of points to maintain their status. So in this case, her locker training, she has until January 1st, 2024, or essentially the end of 2023, to accumulate a total of 20 points. But where I direct coaches is to the maintenance tab, because this, I feel, gives them a better view of where they are at. So the start and expire dates indicate the current maintenance cycle. So it would, in this case, it started on January 1st, 2019, and is 5 years in length. And the expiry date is January 1st, 2024. So when speaking to coaches, I would say to them, well, you've got until December 31st, 2023. There has been some confusion in the past about whether January 2024 means January 1st or January 31st. Just going to switch back to all sports. Any certified status falls under maintenance of certification, and you'll see here that each status will have its own number of required points and its own maintenance cycle. Keep in mind that not all maintenance cycles will be the same. They are determined by the date that the certified status was achieved. So that's why the status is different for baseball than curling. And all right, I'm just going to go back to curling to make it easier to read, because baseball won't help me demonstrate the next point. So any points earned are applied to all requirements equally. So if locker training was to complete another curling workshop, not only would that workshop appear under curling, it would also appear under baseball. Now, how do coaches earn PD points? So there are 4 ways. Any NCCP training, evaluation, or e-learning module that is completed is worth 5 points. And for e-learning, once the module is complete, it will be added to the coach record automatically. For sport-specific or multi-sport training, it is up to the relevant sport organization to make sure that the coach record is updated. The second way to earn points is what's known as non-NCCP partner delivered. So anything that our sport partners would like to have declared or viewed as professional development, but is not part of the NCCP, that would appear under this heading, non-NCCP partner delivered professional development. Points for those is 1 point per hour to a maximum of 3 points. So if the organization has listed their AGM as professional development, and that AGM is over the course of 2 days, that would still only be 3 points. Or if it's a 1 hour webinar, again, that's 1 point. Sorry. The other 2 ways to earn points are available through the self-report tab, and that tab is available to the coach only. Active coaching, so 1 point for each year of the maintenance cycle is available for just being a coach, for just being out there and coaching the athlete. In that case, the coach can come in, click the record button, and they can select the year. Now, you do have the option of selecting the month, but just leave that as January. If I selected 2022 and then selected November, well, I wouldn't get the point until November of 2022. So by leaving it as January, you get the point right away. The last way to earn points is through what is described as self-directed learning. So anything a coach feels has helped them improve that doesn't fall into the other three categories can be listed here. They can click record. What type? They can add a brief description if they want, the date that they completed it, a bit of information on where and how many hours. And again, self-directed learning is 1 point per hour to a maximum of 3 points. But the key here is the coach is limited to a maximum of 3 points per maintenance cycle. And I would say what I've seen mostly with coaches is safety or first aid, and conference or seminar. All right, I think now I've covered the coach account properly. What I did want to go back to, because I did miss it with coach.ca, is to talk about a bit about responsible coaching movement and the rule of two. Really, again, and it sounds like it may sound like I'm skirting the issue, but coach.ca is the best place to go. So under sport safety, click on responsible coaching movement, and everything you need to know is there, and you also have a button to take the pledge. And this is just general information, but then you can go into specifics of sports safety for parents. You know, what the parent can do as part of the responsible coaching movement, or sport organizations or coaches. Who has taken the pledge? We have had organizations at all levels take the pledge. National sport organizations, provincial territorial organizations. We even have clubs signing on as well. But again, this really is the best. These are really the best pages to come for the information. They do a far better job than I could. Brennan, since I missed some things, I'll ask you if I've missed anything else at this point.
Sure. Maybe we can talk a little bit more. Like, do you want to go into more detail with the pledge, Chris? Like, just in terms of what that all entails?
Okay. So by taking the pledge, let's go back a page. So as an organization, taking the pledge just indicates that they are doing what they can to provide a safe environment for their athletes. Once the organization has taken the pledge, they are. Do we have it here? Okay, this is the pledge form. But once the form is completed, the organization will receive an email back outlining some things that they should do. You know, do they have the rule of two in place? What is the rule of two? On a very simple level, it just means that an athlete will not ever be in a situation where they are alone with one person. There will always be, whether it's a coach or club official, there will always be two people present. By taking the pledge, they also agree to promote, respect in sport, make ethical decisions, commit to kids, things like that. They are asked to look at organization or club policies regarding code of conduct, regarding travel. You know, when your athletes are traveling to a competition, is there just one athlete in the vehicle with the coach? Or, it comes back to rule of two. So really, by taking the pledge, you are agreeing to make sure that the organization's policies and procedures are put in place or altered to ensure that your athletes are always in a safe environment.
So Chris, Cynthia just asked a question in the chat, just asking again, does take the pledge for organizations only to take?
Yeah, sorry, one moment. So it's directed at, the pledge really is directed at sport organizations and clubs, because ultimately it is their policies and procedures that will establish that safe environment. For coaches, they are given information about rule of two, about the CAC code of conduct, and things they can do to ensure as a coach that they are providing a safe environment. So I've just clicked on the 4 coaches again, and there's several links to click on. So as a coach, 3 steps to responsible coaching, rule of two, make sure the coaches have gone through ethics training, make sure that they've gone through a background check, things like that. So short answer to the question is yes, the pledge really is centered on organizations, whether it be provincial, national, regional, or even clubs. And right back at the beginning, is it here or for sport organ? We do have a link. I've missed it now. There was a link that you could see which organizations have taken the pledge, and I wanted to show that to you. All right. Well, I can't find it, and I don't want to keep scrolling while sharing my screen.
I think it was just at the bottom, Chris. If you keep going, yeah, right there. That says click here to see.
The green button. I was looking for a red link. Thank you. Oh, it's downloaded as an Excel file. There, so you can see plenty of sport organizations. But if you scroll through it, you will see clubs as well. But right now, we have a large number of organizations that have signed on. But certainly feel free to take a look on your own time. All right. Anything else, Brendan?
There hasn't been anything else mentioned in the chat. I don't know if you want to just touch briefly on the different streams again.
Sure, we can go back to that. So more about the streams. So the streams are community sport, competition, instruction. Community sport is for those just entering into a sport for the first time. That's the target athlete. It could be, using soccer as an example, it could be, 4 or 5-year-olds just getting into the sport for the first time. But it's also targeted to those who either want to keep involved in sport for fun, or those who have come to the end of their competitive careers but aren't ready to retire completely, if you will. So there's community is really aimed at all age groups, but it's from just entering sport for the first time to participating for fun. Competition, that is really aimed at athletes who are looking to develop their skills, are looking to compete at a higher level. Whether it's it could be a high school championships, could be provincial games, Canada games, or even towards Olympics and Commonwealth Games. Instruction is, I guess the best way to describe it is sort of fine-tuning. So I think hockey, for example, they have a goaltending workshop in the instruction stream. So it's something that trains a coach to focus on the goaltender and help them fine-tune their skills. So that's in general. Now below the stream is what's known as a context. So it narrows down, if you will, the streams. For community, there's initiation. So again, that's people who are new to a sport, to ongoing participation. Competition, introduction, development, high performance. So that sort of works your way from sort of looking to get better, looking to compete at a higher level. High performance would be the major games, like Olympics, Commonwealth Games. And then likewise, instruction's broken down, depends on where the athlete is at in their development. I would now most coaches, I would say, have taken training in either the competition or community streams right now. So you've heard me say the word sport. So what sports are part of the NCCP? We have 60 plus sports that are part of the NCCP. Coaches, sorry, I clicked quickly. Coaches can come to coaching resource, sport specific training to find those sports. So yeah, again, we can scroll through it. Now, what isn't here yet is surfing and skateboard, as those are up as sports for Tokyo Olympics. And then there are other sports coming as well. But for now, these are the sports that are available. The coach will select their sport, racquetball. Not a good example. Let's take soccer. Yeah, wow, okay. Alpine ski? All right, what I wanted to show you. Okay. So in the past, what coaches could do is click on the link, and then they could see what's available in that sport as different in the different streams, different content. I think if I remember correctly now, that this is in bit of a development just to bring every sport up to date on what's current, as some sports have been changing their NCCP programs. Coaching requirements. I want to talk about that for a bit too. It is for the vast majority of sports, it is up to the provincial sport association to set those requirements. So while NCCP training is recognized across the country, what a coach needs to have to coach at a specific age group or level of competition may be different from province to province, territory to territory. So when coaches ask, well, what do I need to coach, or do I have enough to coach at this age group, we will always send them to their provincial association. Anything else at this point that we should talk about?
I think that was good, Chris. We have about 10 minutes left. I don't know if you want to maybe open it up to people if they have any questions, and then we can wrap up at 1 o'clock and let people get on with their afternoons.
No problem. We can use the time.
Sure. I'll stop recording, and then we can open it up for people if they have any questions here.
Sure.